Shoot. That was a good presentation. You know, I actually really like the concept of luck that he pulls out, because I really feel like on Amazon, or like selling in e-commerce in general, the moment a sale happens, it really does feel like luck. You don't really know who did that. You don't know what happened, but like you created the environment that made that possible. So there's a lot of luck, and actually pricing is very much in the same grain of luck. We all know what it takes to win the buy box, but like there's always a feeling of luck, because what's the competition gonna do? What are you gonna do? Great intro to this. Let's see. So this is me. I'm Scott Needham. I'm the founder of, I've done a few Amazon businesses to date, about 6. Some of them successful, some of them, we'll talk about it later. But the biggest one is BuyBoxer, where we grew our wholesale business to about 60 million a year. And then I've always just like been the software developer in the back end. I partnered with a few brothers. And then about 18 months ago, I started a software business called SMARTSCOUT. And we've actually, in just 18 months, grown it to 1,500 users. And again, you know, but it's serving in the same ecosystem. Things that I learn in my selling business, I'm able to put in the software. So here is our warehouse in Indianapolis. We have 80 employees and 100,000 square feet. It looks really cool. It's also a lot of headaches, but it's really, you know, at some point we wanted to scale, and so we needed a lot of space. So here's 2 years of sales to show that, you know, we added up to over 100 million on Amazon. Shit. Thank you. I wanted to talk about repricers. Who here uses a repricer when they're selling on Amazon? Does anyone have any favorites? Does anyone love their repricer? Let's hear a few. Go Aura. Be cool. Seller Snap. There's probably, I posted like 6 or 7 here. There's a few more. Is mine here? Yeah, I use this janky one. This is the guy's based out of India and been doing it for like 15 years. I use Channel Max. I've tested a lot of repricers, and they're all great. They all do a good job. I think that what you put into the repricer is more important than what repricer you choose. And so that's what I'll be talking about. We'll get into a few nerdy ideas for a second. Some of these things do apply to private label. Some of these things are serve different business models a little bit better, but bear with me, we'll jump through a few of them. But when I look at our business, we have had at our peak over 100,000 products at once. And so when we have to do a strategy, we have to scale it to everything. But with all of those products, our first 30 days that a product is in stock is when we're our most profitable. This is the stuff that like you should, you know, if there's a chance to really make money, it's gonna happen in the first 30 days. What that means is if you're gonna make the most money in your first 30 days, what we do with our pricing is we float it higher than we normally would, even just for a few days. Then on the flip side, so in the first days, we're pricing high, and then if we don't get sales, we go down to like our break even, and then the final days, we go out of stocks kicking and screaming. And so for 6 or 7 years, we were just using a repricer and just leaving our prices at like break even and letting our repricer to try and find the maximum margin. But when we implemented a few of these strategies that I'm going to talk about, we grew our gross margins on Amazon from 14% to 20%. And thank you, but when you're doing 50 million in sales, like that 6% is huge. It was a ginormous thing. So some of these strategies, like overnight, our profits went up. Sometimes you have to get in a spreadsheet to see it, but what we really do is we let our repricer do its thing, go up and down, but we feed it higher prices on the first few days that it's in stock and the last days that it's in stock. And if the sales keep coming through, we artificially inflate our prices to the repricer. It's pretty dynamic. You probably are going to have to bring a spreadsheet in, but these are the ideas because you want to look for every reason possible to raise your prices. That's why we're in business, to sell at the highest price. Then there's another thing. Everyone else is using a repricer. So what can you do to encourage them to also raise the price, to bring up the market? Well, for about 4 or 5 hours in the night, we just give up on selling. We feel like we'll give everyone else the sales when no one is actually logged into their computers. So between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., we just price high. We want everyone else to come up $1 or $2 so that during the day when we are having the penny pinching wars, where like everyone's undercutting by a penny or whatever happens with these repricers, that at least we're starting at a higher point. So we actually also do this once or twice during the day. We train our repricer to just to jump up, to encourage everyone else to join us. Now here's another strategy. This actually may be dependent on the repricer that you choose. But who here really likes selling directly against Amazon retail? Who hates it? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. But you still sometimes, even though you hate it, do you still sell against them sometimes? You find yourself there, or you're on a listing and all of a sudden they jump in and now you're head to head and you have, a few $1,000s of inventory and you're stuck. And so this tactic, it actually changes in its efficiency year over year because pricing on Amazon, it's not the same now as it was a few years ago, but there's a window to steal some buy box from them, and that's the moment you price down. And even though you may only steal the buy box for, a minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. I've seen sometimes where it only worked for 30 seconds. But guess what? I'll take some buy box over no buy box. And so what yo-yoing is where, you guys you're head to head against Amazon. They're getting all the sales and you yo-yo down and then you go right back up. And you just do this all day long. And in some categories, I've seen some people have huge success in, particularly with very competitive products. So I do know that Channel Max just has an option. You just check on it. You're like, if I'm against Amazon, yo-yo. So that's probably one of the easier ways to implement that. Strategy number 5, I kind of hinted on it before, is to avoid selling against Amazon retail. There are some times where you feel like it might be a good idea, where you found one product, it worked. You're like, oh my goodness, we got this very high selling product and we are against Amazon and we actually made money. That will happen sometimes. But as you grow that, as you scale the amount of products, on average, you're going to lose. They're playing a different game. They will lose $10 million just to be the cheapest on the internet. They'll lose that much money just because if Best Buy runs a promotion, they'll cut their prices by 50%. And I don't know about you guys, I'm not about to lose thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to get in a pricing war with them. So I did this about a year ago. I did an analysis where I looked at our products competing against Amazon, and then here in the middle column I have Amazon's in stock rate. So Amazon's in stock rate, if they're in stock 100% of the time, 90% of the time, 50% of the time, 10% of the time. And then I found our average margin. So our average margin, just like the more Amazon was in stock, the less amount of money that we made. So when I saw this, or I mean, I kind of knew this going into it, but like the numbers just really showed it, that like our core business was just to avoid them at all costs. So that's strategy number 5. All right. So number 6, this one is definitely there's a lot of creativity in how you could use this. Does anyone know what coupons on Amazon are? Those little green badges. This is different than like a promotion. This is different. I wish I could just show it to you, but like, I love coupons. They do a lot of different things. They do things psychologically to the customer. It almost feels as good as free shipping. And like free shipping, we know it kind of changed the game. But the fact that you can like check a box and get like a few dollars extra, the customer is more likely to buy it. So, but the thing is, nothing is stopping you from raising your product $5 and then using a $5 coupon. It's the same thing, but the customer feels like they found the product on the right day. So I actually broke the coupon system because we launched too many coupons. We probably had about 3,000 or 4,000, and then for a while we couldn't do any more because Amazon Seller Central just broke on us. But I did the reason I launched a few thousand is we launched them on all of our old products. Like I told you, you make money on your first days of a product's life, but we had some products that we had in stock for over 6 months. And on every single one of those, I just put the minimum coupon on it, 5%. So I put a 5% coupon on all of our stale stuff, and overnight, like that body of product, its sales doubled. So yes, we did take a little bit of a margin hit, but you know, you want that money to come back, because sometimes you have investors that need to get paid off. And your stale inventory, it acts against you. You're paying fees on it. You are, all sorts of things just get really ugly with your stale inventory. It's not allowing you to grow your business. So I think I could talk even longer about coupons, like why they are like this magic thing that people don't use enough. I think every product should have a coupon all the time. Here's one reason why. Only half of Amazon customers actually use it. Because you have to check this little box, and if you don't get the coupon. And as I've done thousands of these, about half the people forget to check that box. So right there, it kind of pays for itself. Yeah. So I had the Amazon employee that told me about coupons. He says dollar off was better. I've heard the opposite. I've heard people that have done their own research and they say % off. I think it just comes to like what you think you're actually giving them. I think if you're able to show $5 off, that's pretty strong. Versus like $1 off, like that's not a great number. 5% may feel a little bit more substantive. But the minimum is 5%. Good question. Of course, yeah, you can do it. Coupons don't help you win the buy box, so it's not necessarily a game to play there. But I would definitely do it with your stale inventory. Just grab it all, and put it. They actually now have a spreadsheet. You can just like throw up 50 coupons at once. And just do the minimum value, and it's a good chance to get your stale inventory back. And in my experience, like if you look at like say a list of 10 products and people are fighting for the buy box, sometimes you can see that someone actually has a coupon, but it doesn't help them win the buy box. So this is not a buy box strategy. This is more of just like a different way that pricing can impact your your sales, or as Romer and Taylor put it, your luck. Okay, so let's see. I do think that there's a lot you can learn here. There's more than I can just cover in a simple thing, but that like I was selling on Amazon doing tens of millions, and then even after that, I found small improvements. So like if there's one thing that like you remember from this is like, don't think that you solved pricing. Think of a few additional ways that you can be creative. You need to be creative in how you're pricing up. Now, one of the best ways to be higher price is actually to be on less competitive products where there's fewer competitors. And so the software SmartScout that I built, one of its core things is it organizes all the brands on Amazon, and you can essentially take, I believe we track about 900,000 brands, and then you can see which ones are competitive and which ones aren't. In particular, there's a column here, Amazon in stock rate. There's a column here, average number of FBA sellers. So you see Lego, on average, there's 10 Amazon sellers. So you can take all of the brands out there and filter out and find the ones that are the least competitive, where you have more chances to price up. So where you can get more margin. So I think a lot of your profit is made the day that you make an order, that you are setting yourself up for success. And so that's one of the use cases of SmartScout, and an excellent strategy. Like I've seen so many mistakes, and I've seen so many successes, and usually it's the data that we put in to our decisions. Then there's a few other things. I'm going to show a few. Actually, how many people here use SmartScout? All right, we got a few. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We're making it, honestly, like in 18 months, we've made it so much better. One thing that we added that's very, actually, I think this is very valuable. We did, let's get an idea of what type of sellers are in the room. How many people here are retail arbitrage? Okay, we got about 10. How many people are online arbitrage? All right, big crew there. How many are wholesale? Okay, pretty good mix. Private label. Okay, so we have a very different crowd, and what's actually really good is everyone's listening to different things. But there's one thing here that I think is very much like to the online arbitrageurs out there. So again, we were looking at Lego, and Lego's a huge, it's a category of its own, and there's probably some strategies or whatever, but it's also a collector's item, which can create some really interesting scenarios, Q4, especially if things go out of stock. Some of these products, they really do sell for $500, $1,000. But we put in a little filter here, out of stock. You can just go up to Lego right now on SmartScout, and then just be like, show me every product from Lego that's out of stock on Amazon. So last time I did this, I found a little Star Wars thing right here. It was out of stock. Then I went onto eBay, and it was right there at like a normal price, probably like $100, $150. And so clearly there's an arbitrage opportunity, and that's what I'm building around. So one thing that takes a long time to settle in is to realize how big the opportunity on Amazon is. Like we could talk about this all day, and I still don't think that we will grasp it. We have a subcategory view in SmartScout that shows every of the 40,000 subcategories on Amazon, what the opportunity is in that niche. And we're seeing home and kitchen. It's $7.5 billion a month. So that is, I would probably, like, we've got some big sellers in this room. We probably collectively make, let's see, I'd say maybe we're about 10% of just this one category. That's thinking like, that's elevating. Maybe together we all do 700 million a month. I don't know. I still think like, but this is just one category, and there's multiple. So, as big as you want to think about the opportunity, it's probably bigger. And we represent in this room just a small sliver of the opportunity. Okay, so yeah, I was just showing this is SmartScout used by pretty much every aggregator is using SmartScout for the big opportunity analysis. We got some big wholesalers, and I've been doing a podcast for about 3 years. So if you like what you've heard and you want to jump into more of the specific things, I've got a few podcasts where I talk just about pricing. In fact, my first podcast that I did about 3 years ago, that's really where I jump in my wholesale business and pretty much spill every secret. And even a few people in this room have been on the podcast. So if you really like a speaker, you could hear us speaking to each other. So shout out to Trevin and Amazon Lit back there. And if you want to follow, I'm on Instagram. I talk about nerdy stuff. Sometimes I tease my mom on my stories because it's just fun. And that's it. Thanks, guys.